I am really thrilled to be here at LOHAS 10 because in so many ways, the LOHAS consumer is the heart of this megatrend of conscious capitalism, which is really the larger context in which the LOHAS trend is accelerating so very, very much. I'm going to reiterate a lot of the themes that have been coming up today, and one of them, of course, is this notion of the mainstream, this notion of the LOHAS ethos migrating to the mainstream. Very, very important, I think, in a lot of ways. But first, what the heck is a megatrend? Well, a megatrend is a large, overarching direction that shapes our society for a decade or more. And I think it's going to be more like 2 decades for the megatrend that I'm going to be talking about today. It could be social, it could be economic, it could be demographic, it could be spiritual. And in the case of conscious capitalism, it's really all of the above. So I'm going to talk about 5 trends today. They are conscious capitalism itself, the power of spirituality and the way in which it is shifting from the personal to the organizational, the values-driven consumer, that's the 3rd one, which of course has a huge overlap with LOHAS. 4 is about the new wave of conscious business solutions that are coming on the scene. And finally, I will talk about socially responsible investing. That's the 5th trend, or as it is affectionately called, SRI. But conscious capitalism is more than these 5 individual trends. There are actually 7 that I talk about in the book, but for time purposes, I'm limiting myself to 5. Because there are so many powerful synergies at work here. The LOHAS consumer fuels the socially responsible investing trend, and vice versa. The search for spirituality in business echoes the demands in the marketplace for greater truth and integrity in business. So really there's a new holistic framework that's starting to show. It's as if the vague outlines of it are starting to become clear for us. So conscious capitalism is a megatrend, but it's also a movement. It is a largely grassroots, complex, disparate, self-organizing movement of investors, of consumers, of activists, certainly, of visionary CEOs, of ordinary managers, and of executives. It is a movement to restore ethics and spirit to business after one of the most tumultuous periods in U.S. economic history. I'm talking, of course, of the first 3 or so years of this decade, although the roots go back certainly through the 1990s. Now, how could such massive change as the kind that I'm suggesting is already well underway happen? Back in the book Reinventing the Corporation, which was published in 1985, my God, I was 15 years old at the time. It's amazing. In that book, John Nesbitt and I proposed a very, very simple formula about social transformation, which said that social change usually happens when there is a convergence of new values, and economic necessity. You have to have both. Look at the example of hybrid cars. The early adopters, the LOHAS consumers, were motivated by their driving commitment to sustainability, They bought the cars. Along came the incredible rise in the price of gasoline, which shows no signs of abating at this point. And this lovely little niche market exploded into a major, major sector of the automobile market. New values, economic necessity, boom, change takes off. Most of us are very well aware of the economic change, the economic pressures on capitalism today, the tech boom, the market crash, the accounting scandals, the CEO indictments, the outrage over CEO pay, budget deficits. I could go on and on. These economic forces are driving change from the top down. Bubbling up from the grassroots are the more positive changes that constitute the trends that I'm going to talk about today, including, of course, socially responsible investing, the LOHAS consumer, the search for meaning and values and spirituality in business, the increase in shareholder activism, which is part of the conscious capitalism trend. So social transformation explodes at the crossroads of new values and the innovations that they inspire and economic necessity. You have to have both, and today we do. So, the dawn of conscious capitalism. Capitalism as we have known it might be summarized in the title of an article written by Milton Friedman entitled, "The Social Responsibility of Business is to Increase Profits," which I think brilliantly describes unconscious capitalism. As in, all we care about is making money, all we care about is profit, all we care about is keeping our shareholders happy, and we prefer not to look, that is to say, to remain unconscious of the moral, social, environmental, even economic cost of doing so. We're just not going to look at it.